Hi guys, welcome back to Test Wagon Testing channel. Today I'm going to talk about another topic in automation pitfalls channel. And since this whole playlist itself is covering a lot of automation anti patterns, so to say, this one is quite common, and this is around uh, who owns automation in the team, or who should own automation in the team. I mean, a lot of times I've seen this whole automation failing for teams because the ownership is not clear, or in the sense it is being done in silos. So a lot of times, in my experience, what I've seen across multiple teams is that the onus is left with QS completely, and which is a wrong practice. So ideally, if I had to, I mean, if we are to listen to my perspective based on my experiences across multiple teams, having seen what is working and what is not, automation is something which should be owned by the whole team and not just the QS. And I'll tell you why. Uh, so let's look at I mean, automation in general is something that the whole team is looking forward to. Uh, in multiple ways. So if you look at, for example, developers, so they are reliant on automation for faster feedback. So they expect that they will check in something, it gets deployed to an environment, and then there is some test running which is giving them feedback on if whatever they've done is right or not. Look at the product analyst. So what they are doing is they are reliant on automation tests to basically achieve faster releases. QAs, of course, are because they are the ones who are writing and owning and driving, uh, for them to writing, let's say, giving coverage, writing deeper tests, and all of that, right? So in essence, what is happening is that everyone is getting benefited, everyone is having reliance, but the QAs are supposed to own it, which is wrong. QA should of course be driving it, and then there is no denying, because QA comes from that background, they have that testing acumen, they are seeing the product holistically, and then they're also sort of talking to product owners to align business requirements. So having said this, this is clear that the QA should be one who should be driving it. But when it comes to ownership, unless the whole team is participating in some way, it's not gonna be of value. And we can talk about what they can do from their perspective, the other team members, to sort of show ownership, and how can we take it forward. So very basic for product analysts is that they are the ones who come up with uh, business priorities, right? So they have to be always coming and checking on what's getting automated and at what layer and how much, in the sense, is it aligned with the business priority or not. At the same time, if you look at devs, they should be willing to contribute, in the sense, let's say, if I as a dev, I'm writing a piece of code and checking it in, and if my smoke is failing, I have to go and check why it is failing. If it is a function problem, it'll probably give me right away cues on what I did wrong and which is why this is failing, rather than waiting for a QA to actually run the test, find the bug, and then come back to me. So what I've seen definitely working is developers owning a sense of that, if I'm checking in and if I'm breaking smoke, I have to go back and fix that, rather than me waiting for someone else to come and sort of find it for me and then I'll fix it. So I mean, this basically generates that sense of ownership across the whole team, and then everyone becomes a lot more serious, and then this is a massive value add. Trust me on this. But what we have to also understand is how do we make this happen as QS. So one thing which goes a long way is if we can manage to have the same tech stack that is being used for developing the product, and we also use the same tech stack for writing automated tests. So say for example, if the whole tech stack for the product is based in Java, then we write everything which is a test asset in Java itself. Or if it is in JS, then we go and use JS based tools. So what then happens is that the context, which is very minimal for developers to actually contribute to the whole framework and be able to write some tests and be able to fix it when they are failing the smoke for whatever they have checked in. Also, whatever we are choosing, we have to keep things transparent and keep the product analyst in loop, so they are always aware of what is getting tested and to what depth, because they are the ones who are actually taking business calls, uh, which is where, I mean, you have a bunch of tools. So if possible, write tests which are very descriptive in nature, or there are logs enough which these guys can read and understand what is getting tested. Or maybe use a tool which is sort of defining the behavior, so some sort of a BDD specification which will make it clear for them to understand what is getting tested. So as long as the whole team is involved, the whole team is coming together and deciding what is going to be automated, it's going to make a lot more sense. The other thing which I've also seen working and working really well if all of this is part of the definition of done for the story. uh, so in the sense that every time a story is getting played, the whole team is coming together to talk about what is the expectation from this story, when will call this story complete, which is the definition of done, and if that includes that the story also has to be automated as part of the whole completion criteria in this iteration or in this sprint, the whole team will then take this whole ownership seriously. So this is something which I've seen practically working in multiple teams, and this is my 2 cents on this. More than happy to hear comments. Feel free to talk about what is happening in your team, who's owning, and the problems you face if QAs are the ones who are owning. See you.